Hey guys. Well, I have been kind of in throes of working with both the Social Security Administration, the SSA, and the Colorado Department of Human Services, which handles a lot of things, but the SNAP benefits that we've all heard a lot about recently, those are handled by the Department of Human Services, and other things that we have that I'm not as familiar with because I haven't received them, but I did receive SNAP for quite some time. I'm off it now, which is great. That's the whole point. I didn't get back on my feet in the traditional way. I am getting the benefits from the Social Security Administration, and I'm getting a lot. I mean, I say a lot. I mean, it's a lot for them because through my career, I kind of had two different careers, and one of them, I was in my early 20s and I was making maybe 70. I'm not even sure I quite made that, but high 60s at the end. I was traveling all over the world doing breathalyzer stuff. I worked for a company here in Colorado that manufactures breathalyzers. But then I moved to LA and just did some other stuff, and then I got a second career as a plumber, and I worked in a very specific part of plumbing, excavation, and we made a lot of money. We recommending these repairs requires a unique blend of sales skills, technical knowledge, and to be really good, like I was, I snipped out the commercial opportunities because I just knew that, once, and I worked for a huge company. I worked for Roto-Rooter for, 10 years? 15 years? 15 years. And, kind of off and on, and, the industry is pretty well known for flip-flopping or whatever you want to call it, because there's once you get really good at that particular job in plumbing, you're highly sought after. And especially me, I kind of got legendary status. My last name was a verb. It was a verb. So, yeah, if you think about that should tell you everything you need to know. But so, as a result, I was making, minimum 180 up to 200 plus for a decade, minus the 1 year I moved to Mexico to open a totally different business. And so that becomes black and white with the Social Security Administration, and they've been keeping track since 1992. My first year of officially working, once I got to legal age, as you guys know, I worked before that kind of under the table, but it's a whole different story. So let me start by saying, if you're not in the mood to follow this, really pay attention, I don't think you'll get a lot out of it because it's just me talking. But for those of you who are intently listening and really want to take 30 minutes of your life, I assume that's about how long this will take, and just really drill down with me on this stuff that our government is involved in. It's very eye-opening, very eye-opening. And there's a saying, it's not a saying necessarily like a wives' tale or anything, but it's you know, I don't know that it's actually a saying, but it is said that you can't unknow things. You know, like you hear it in like the meme sense. You can't unsee this or you can't unknow this, but I mean that comes from somewhere. And so what happens is it's like levels of awareness or coming out of the darkness into the light, I guess maybe because the government is trying to keep people in the dark. And some of that is for good reason, I imagine. Well, I don't imagine. I could probably list 10 good reasons right now. I won't, but I could. So it's based in, I think, a reasonable set of expectations on who is doing the serving and who's receiving the service, you know, the beneficiaries and, you know, all the in-betweens. But the goal of Social Security is that you pay into it your whole career, separate from your normal taxes is your social. I mean, if you've gotten a paycheck and you've looked at your pay stub and you've done your own taxes and all that, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, when you, you know, do your taxes and you submit all this, a lot of it's done automatically. Well, that makes it every year. And I didn't even know that you could go on, you can currently go online, and it's pretty complicated. You have to be able to sign into the Social Security Administration website, and that requires a multi-factor authorization, and you have to use their, I think it's ID.me, and then a government one. I use the ID one, and just, you know, I have biometrics on my phone, and you know, after all the initial work is done for me, now I just go to Social Security on my browser and on my phone, and then, you know, it kind of does the rest and walks me through. That's, you know, it's pretty convenient for transaction engineering. Yeah, that's the right term. So transactional engineering, meaning you know, the information that you send is encrypted and secure, and, you know, all that stuff. Or maybe it's not, but it's very secure. And so anyway, with all that hullabaloo, generally that takes a whole lot. But once you get going, and I did get going because I applied initially for Social Security in 2024, December, and I became disabled before that. And my disability is not the type where I was injured, so I didn't fall off a ladder and suddenly become disabled. It itself, the disability, took time to develop, right? It's a nervous system condition called peripheral neuropathy, and you can look it up and do the research there. But it's a very interesting disability, and it's at times you wouldn't even know I'm disabled. But when the bad times and the bad days, and if it's not done just right with the drug regimen that I'm on and all that stuff, but you know, the patches fail or whatever, you know, so there's a lot of pain involved, and not to complain, but just to describe. So the government decides what date you became disabled, and they chose September 19th of 2024. Yeah, September 19th of 2024. And really, I got disabled, I would say more like in March, but I'm not going to argue that. It's close enough, and you'll see what I mean, dollars wise, since I didn't fall off the ladder like I described, and I myself can't pinpoint exactly when it disallowed me from working, and I'm a tough cookie. Pretty hard to get me to not work. That's an understatement. I'm a machine. So to disable a machine is it's pretty tough. But nonetheless, I would call it around March, which is when I stopped working at Roto-Rooter, and those two things were, they were definitely related, but on paper, we got new management, and they didn't know me from Adam, because it was like a top-down change at Roto. And anyway, if you know anything about the corporate world, and Roto is definitely going corporate and getting more corporate by the day, and they changed presidents about a year before that. In fact, one of our executives, Rick Arquilla, was on Undercover Boss. Yeah. I didn't see it. I saw a little bit, but I didn't pay attention. But anyway, so the reason I left again was definitely because of my disability, but I didn't have anyone to talk to. Roto didn't have a good HR department, nor did they have a good safety manager. The guy was like 1,000 years old, and I just didn't have respect or at all for him and how he did his job and just the whole thing. So it was related, definitely, but on paper, it won't show. But so anyway, I'm fine with that disparity between March, what I would consider, and then September, March, April, May, it's 6 months or so. But so I applied in December of 2024, and I looked at some of the numbers that they calculated that I might get, but I just kind of, at the time, I was just really battling, a tremendous amount of pain. Before I got this pain under control, I was in so much pain that it was really hard to focus, and it hobbled me and slowed me down and sludged me. It's a fascinating condition, and I attend cognitive behavioral therapy. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to have that today. And that's good. I have a powerful mind, so CBT, it's pretty in line with computing in a lot of different ways, and I get to dance around with the ideas and the thoughts and what pain is. And anyway, so I applied in December, and then it just went out into the ether. And then and as did I guess. So those two things, whether or not they're related, I don't think so. But, the way to get money while you're waiting is you do not. So I got denied for unemployment, which rocked my world at the time. But as with anything, it's kind of a blessing in disguise or whatever, or I've just completely written it off and just whatever. but that put me in a really tough spot financially. Even though I was making a lot of money, I just wasn't good with it. I was, in the mode of being hyper accountable, which I am. I take full responsibility, absolute full responsibility for entering into that state financially, and at the same time that there's no available money to come in. My family, Pandora's box. Let's just leave that. They were not substantially helpful, and so I ended up going homeless, and stayed in the shelter, and the whole 9 yards. And during that time, I was in contact with the SSA, Social Security Administration, as much as I think you would expect to be in that situation, right? I don't have a way to print paperwork. I don't have paperwork, but thank goodness that my phone is an extension of me, my folding phone that I'm talking to right now. It's being connected and with my abilities with AI and just computing in general. I mean, I'm capable of anything, essentially. And so, just not getting home, but that's a whole other story. And so, I'm in contact with the Social Security Administration one way. They're sending me an occasional update, but mostly kind of radio silence. And then I get myself out of the homeless situation. Still no word from the SSA or updates. I get labeled as disabled by the state legally and permanently, so that became a really important point. That's an interesting day in one's life to be 51. I think I may have been 50 at the time, but whatever, 50, 51. And extremely capable of going out and making money and just making something out of nothing and all that. Just not being able to do that physically. I mean, it's ultra frustrating beyond anything that I can say I've ever experienced. And so it's just a really tough time, exacerbated by poor decision making on my part, and needing to ask for help, which I did. I got a shelter and made my way, or got into the shelter and got a bed there or a cot, and thank goodness for that service. It's a great, wonderful service. I was only there for a couple of months, or maybe a month and a half, or whatever it was, but I made the most of it, and I guess I set the record for quickest successful exit. Successful being the operative there, I guess. But so I'm still in contact with Social Security Administration. I start getting calls from Rocky Mountain Human Services, which is another agency. It's a state agency, and they had kind of been in contact with me. I had a case manager, and actually at one point I had an interview with the case manager on the phone while I was in the cage at the shelter, the outside part. And and I told her everything, and I didn't really even know who I'm talking to, but it's an agency, and I'm obviously in need of help, and I'm applying for jobs just to get me out of there, because I can't work. Like, I can't plumb, can't do anything physical. So I ended up taking a job as a customer service representative at a plumbing company. And it was a good fit, and it got me out of the homeless shelter, and lasted long enough for me to get back on my feet. And then, my disability, let's just say, just, you just can't keep it up forever. And they did everything right. They put me in a office that I could walk to, and they put a cot in my office for me, and good human beings. And with all of that, I just, there's a reason they call it disabled, I guess. So, and then I had been receiving SNAP benefits. That was the one thing that I got approved for just before I went homeless, and that was huge, huge, especially at that shelter. Man, I felt like the richest guy. I just, because I got the $293 or whatever it is in food stamps, but I digress. So the Social Security has the SSA on their website. They have like if you guys know what a pizza tracker is, kind of like Domino's is the first one that did it many years ago, and it's kind of almost a meme at this point. But they have basically a pizza tracker where it's cut into 5 sections, and the lights kind of go. I think the colors are different shades of gray or whatever, but it moves very slowly. So it went from step 1 to step 3, let's say in 5 months or something, and I thought, okay, this is reasonable. And then it just was stuck on step 3 for months and months and months, 6 months, 8 months. I don't know, it's a long time. And, I'd still look every day, or maybe not every day, but whenever it pop into mind. And, I wasn't writing checks on it per se, but I definitely was expecting it, because I was feeling clearly disabled, and I had been going to a doctor, and there's record of it, and just whatever, all the things, and I'd been doing everything right, in a bad situation. And so I felt very much entitled to my benefits, which I worked hard for, and it's my money. I gave the Social Security Administration, I looked, so I should remember this number, but whatever. It's like $290,000 or something. Let's just say $290,000 that over my career since 1992 until March of 2024, I had paid the Social Security Administration almost $300,000 starting in 1992. So start doing the math with inflation and all that stuff, and so that's a significant amount of money. And unfortunately, the worst case scenario happened to me, which is to become disabled. But there is a safety net in there in Social Security disability insurance, and you really hope you never need it. And I'm telling you, you really, I'm out to change this. This is what I am here to do. But it'll be a long, long, long battle, and it looks like I'm going to have to go it alone. Been on the phone with attorneys, and because the Social Security Administration has what they call sovereign immunity, essentially means that they can't be sued. But they can be sued, and that I can file a lawsuit against them, but I don't have any rights to damages or anything like that. And that should be obvious why that's important, but let me just explain, just in case that becomes contextually important for you. The first thing I'll say is I would be biting the hand that feeds me, right? So they're now paying me, and I am grateful for that. And it's exactly what it should be, and it's there for life, and all the things. And but I'm gonna stand before them in court, hopefully, and call them out on this psychological manipulation, almost 101. I mean, really, going back to what I said at the preface. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I have pictures that I put them up on bioware.app. So just look at that as your look what I have. I bought this. This is my dream. I'm showing this off. This is a mechanical keyboard, truly mechanical keyboard. And it's got that feel and the travel and the sound. Oh, man. It's a dream. It's not connected to anything right now. I guess I think so much like a computer. I look down at this to jog my memory because I know that it's in there. And so I'm recalling. But, anyway, so that was my show off. And so, once you I have a picture on the website of the hallway inside of the Social Security Administration, just the hallway, just to start. I even put on the website, I put welcome to the Stanley Kubrick Hotel. I mean, it is straight out of Clockwork Orange, and some of his other works, and you just see it and you just go, was Kubrick here? Was he part of this design? I mean, dead straight. I mean, this thing was leveled with a laser. I mean, unbelievably straight and level and plumb and white and not a picture in sight. Every seam on the wall, all of the tiles on the wall are happily married together, seam to seam, and meticulous. And they designed this corner in there. If you go to my website, you'll see. So you go down the whole thing is a maze, and the whole thing is the Social Security, the SSA. What do you think of when you think of that? You have to be thinking elderly people. You have to. And disabled, right? I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but it would be rare for someone not to tie those two things together, right? And when you go into the Social Security Administration, the SSA, and if you just zoom out for a second, just what am I looking at here? But remove yourself halfway or whatever your trick is, and go, if someone sat me down, and I am not an engineer or an architect or any of those things, if someone sat me down and said, look, all I have is a pen and a paper, and I'm sorry, but we need you to design a building specifically for disabled people. They're going to have walkers, wheelchairs in cases, and we need to really try and make things convenient. One room next to another, and kind of clustered if we can, and if we absolutely have to ask them to move, we need to move them up because we can move them. They don't have to. So these would just baseline, right? The exact opposite. You couldn't. You would have to sit down and describe exactly the antithesis, the opposite to what I just said. Make all the hallways as long as possible. And when you make a corner, don't make the corner so that you're walking up to it and you can kind of sneak a peek as you're coming up to it. and know that, okay, no, obscure the corner. Just bump it out, do something so that it just adds another element. And then after you get through this the corner, whatever you come up with, you're a psychological torture master, I understand, right? Okay, so whatever you design that corner. And so after you get through that, then you're facing another hallway that looks exactly like the one you just came out of. And just as long, if not longer. So that way, when you got a disabled person, they just make it down this long hallway and they're just like, okay, well, clearly there's something going on in there at the corner, but there's no arrows, there's not a thing on the wall. But I can tell that, I've been around long enough. I'm getting there. Nope. Sorry, old man and old woman, whatever your disability is. We don't care. You're gonna maneuver through this corner, and then you're gonna be staring another hallway just down the barrel. You know why? 'Cause fuck you, that's why. Because we're smarter than you. Because you are a failure. And you had every opportunity in life to make something of yourself and not suckle off the teat of the government. We hate people like you. We despise you. Everything, every fiber in our collective being rejects every thought you have. Everything. You're a primate. You're just a primate. And when we design these things, that's what we think about. Like what? But we got to keep control of you. That's the thing. Like we got to find a way to, you know what? John, just write this down. Make them feel really small and helpless. No, I know they're already helpless, but I just mean make them feel, because, they're going to down the hallway in the corner. You heard that, right? Okay, yeah. So they're already. Oh, so you're saying additional. So like make them feel even more. Yeah, like John Knuckles, buddy. See? That's right. John's my guy. So yeah, so I don't know why I didn't think of that. Oh, and then they finally make it to the Social Security office, and there's the bathrooms we got because we have to have them, but they're locked and you have to ask security, whatever. Just they're bathrooms, but they're not for primates. So, but then they see the Social Security office, it's just, more cold and we'll put a bunch of signs up. I mean, the more red, Frank, you're a sign guy? Come here. Yeah. Oh, you heard all? Okay, perfect. So you're caught up. Okay. So they've gone through all that. Now, just do your worst. Just do your worst. I mean, we're the government. They gotta be organized because everything else is organized and straight and level. So we call that the motif, and we're just gonna keep it because, we're orderly. And so this, and we want them to be orderly. So what's that? Oh, we work with the Department of Human Services. Okay. But they're a state. Oh, we work with them. We work with the state. I got it. Okay. So with the state building, first thing you do, just get on the phone with them, those little plebes over at the state, and tell them that when they're designing their building, because all the beneficiaries, this is an old federal trick. They'll love this one. So, all the beneficiaries are, because it's state service. They're the same. They're the same as the people in the Social Security, the primates. They're down, kind of helpless, and they don't really have good families, so they can't. We did this thing at the Department of Human Services where if you want to keep Medicaid, you have to open uh, you have to create and open an income trust, and then yeah, I mean yeah, it was Bill. It's got Bill's name. Yeah, he came up with it. But so my point is, so these people, the apes, they don't have the resources and family, and they just don't happen to have people that just want to help them out in life, which is kind of the reason they're sucking on the teat. So if you make them open an income trust, just imagine how daunting that statement sounds. And then when you actually go to open an income trust, you already have to have bank accounts active, and then you open it with the same bank. And even the bankers, I wouldn't do Wells Fargo. Go in there. The guy'd been working there 18 years. He barely knew what it was. He had to do it because, it's so obscure. I don't know what he was thinking to come up with this, but it is brilliant. It's classic. But so anyway, they got to go through the income trust and this and that, and but the key is when we overstimulate them with all these things we send out in the mail. We love the mail. Just put paper in front of them and just watch it pile up, demanding that you have to file an income. We sent this one guy. We sent him six, and they're like 16 pages apiece, like day after day, to like remind him of this income trust. But the key is, he can't really do anything about it, but yet we're peppering him on this. I mean, dude, it's brilliant the way it's just orchestrated perfectly. And the people at the front, our people they don't need to really know the details. It's going to happen so rarely that, when someone comes in who actually does the income trust. Oh, sorry, man, I'm back to the signs. Okay, so the signs. Let me give you one idea. So the government has been shut down. It's February. What is the date? The 26th? Right, so it's February 26th. I want you to print up brand new signs that say that due to the government shutdown, yeah, I know it's been 3 weeks. Yeah, you and I know that, but they're apes. Don't you get it? They're worthless. I mean, can I say that? Whatever, I'm gonna say it. They're fucking worthless. They couldn't think their way out of a wet paper bag, as my mom used to say. So just douse them. Just piss on them. Oh, we can't do that? Oh, well, whatever. We'll try. We'll try anything, man. We'll take a little piss and let's do it from the roof of the building, and they'll think it's like, because we're always under construction. Well, you know that old trick, right? So it's always complicated, and they like tunnel them in, and so like the whole building is like squeezing them down, and they haven't even gotten into the building yet. And you just put a sign. I'll send you a picture. It's pretty beautiful. This wooden like tunnel right downtown. It says Social Security office, and that's all it says with an arrow. Beautiful. So anyway, we have them so beaten. They don't know that the government. And then we just can keep playing our game of the 3-hour wait time. You go into our offices. It's always a 3-hour wait time. And did you get the memo about So we've been doing this a while. So what we do is we send out a letter to the beneficiary. Once they get approved, like we're gonna actually pay them. So you make an appointment with them for like their back pay, and we call it a perk appointment. PERC. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what it means. Of course, yeah. It's whatever. Let's just You can Google it. How's that? So this conference that you have, you're going to tell them for the first time you're going to be the first human that they've talked to from the Social Security Administration. They've tried calling, we just route them to different numbers and nothing works. And we got all the guys we have at the main office, because that's the only number we publish. Oh, why would we put the local office numbers on the internet? Fuck these. They're apes. They'll call the same number. We have a bunch of fucking assholes. They're just assholes. They're picking up the phones. Yeah, they're total. They make these people hang up like no one's business. More people give up by that time, because by the time they actually need to call to make an appointment, right? Because that's the number that we say to call. We just don't want to fuck with them. And then maybe once in a while we'll give out the number for the Social Security office. But when they call that, let's get this, it's at least an hour wait. At least. And you have to put your Social Security number in first before. So it's tied together. It's just weird. And then those people are assholes on the phone too. And they, oh yeah, but I forgot the main point. So you make the appointment, and you send a letter to the people, because you don't call. You don't call. You just don't call. Yeah, we're the SSA. We can do whatever we want, right, guys? Yeah, we do whatever we want to these apes. Yeah, of course they'll be sitting there. I heard this one guy put off surgery. It was a weird thing. You'll read. He's got it on his website, BioWare.app. This guy's a fucking asshole. But anyway, whatever. He's so smart. But he literally looked his doctor right in the face and said, "This call from the Social Security Administration is so important for my financial future. Now that I finally have one again, because I've gone through homelessness, I've literally built myself from the ground up with my own hands." That's what this guy's thinking. And we just don't call him. We just don't. And so that's great. That's a great guess. And this guy that did this, we scheduled the appointment with Rosa, that's what it says on the official letter. We set it for 4:15. We closed at 4. Right, so when we don't call him, he calls to the office, and we're closed. So we just are like, fuck you, Say goodbye to your feet, you fucking ape loser, No, he kept his toes, because whatever. It doesn't matter. But, so just don't make the appointment, or don't, call when you say you're going to make the appointment. And then they'll come in eventually and just be like, "Hey, you guys were supposed to call me. I missed an appointment." And we kind of pretend like, but we just say, "Yeah, we don't really say anything. We just kind of ask them to take it." We just literally point them to an electronic kiosk, and it's like a little babysitter, and it'll take care of the fucking ape. And you just make them go through their stuff and put their numbers in. You have to print out a ticket, and then you love this so you give the ape their ticket, and they're just sitting there like they're so pissed off because they've made their way all the way downtown and parked and probably taken the day off because they know it's a big deal and it's definitely important to their life. But fuck them, the fucking monkeys. And so they are just pissed off and they've gone through the gauntlet of just all the busyness and getting squeezed down in the construction site. And we got security guards downstairs that are looking like they're working for the building, but they work for us too. And they kind of set the tone and just point, Social Security is this way. And then they've already walked into the little tiny service elevator and just felt really squeezed down. And then they get in the waiting room and they kind of think they're special because, you had a set appointment with them for like their financial future and you missed it. So they're sitting there like just bewildered. So we just have been fucking punching them since the minute they got here. And then we just put them on ice. We just make them sit there for 3.5 hours that's kind of the baseline to work off of. So sometimes it's slightly less, sometimes it's more. We always put on a show. Oh yeah, I don't remember the kid's name, but he's kind of a younger kid with the beard and the longer hair that works at the local office. Oh, he's great. He gets up there and he's got a computer and he's official and he's got his lanyard on, so he definitely works for the government, and he's kind of got his shoulders back. He's just this guy, and he just pipes it right into these people, just stuffing it down their fucking throat. Yeah, so 3.5 hours is the wait. We're as the sign you can see here says, we're short-staffed because of the government shutdown. And let's see, so put the government, even though it's been over for 3 weeks, it's ancient history. These fucking apes don't know that. So they'll just go how we always want them. Harumph. Okay, well, and they'll tell their family, the government, like they already accept just they're going to get dicked around. So, we got our normal reign over them, and no one's tracking this shit. They don't even know why they're pissed off. They have no clue because we've got this psychological hold on them. That's the whole point, guys. That's what we do here. We're not pay out. Are you going to pay him? Well, we don't have any money. What happened to all the money that I don't know. That's above my pay grade. It gets traded around and whatever. Let's focus on these fucking monkeys for a second. And they are so just beat down and downtrodden, and we've just been putting our boot on their fucking neck all day long. And by the time they get to that window, hey, just wait. So by the time they get to that, man, they're fucking putty in our hands, and our experts at the windows, just they know exactly what to say. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but this Mike guy that works there, this smart guy that we're talking about came in the other day, and he just sits down, and the smart guy knew like way more than we wanted him to know. And so our guy, it was pretty cool, we think anyway. He just looked at the guy, he goes, you need to work on your personality. It's not the best, but just because he went into factory reset mode. Our guy, like, he didn't know what the fuck to do with this guy. He just knew he was mad. But for just knowing you're mad and just wanting an ape to go away, that was pretty good. But anyway, so these monkeys, they just don't stand a chance. And by the time we pay them, God, I can't even remember what the percentage of people that actually make it through, but it's frighteningly low. So we're doing a good job. We keep working. We're advancing. We've got our software. I mean, we now have hours on our website. I don't mean hours for when you can, I mean hours that the website itself is available. Have you ever even heard of such a thing? When can you not access a website 24 hours a day? We're the first first, or maybe we're not first, but we're really close. Because these fucking, again, I can't say it enough. These apes, they're just worthless and they're thorns on our side, and they just have the same story every time. You guys are supposed to send a letter. It's like, fuck off. We don't have to send letters. We don't. And when we do, this smart guy, we totally fucked up. We said, but it's cool. We sent him a letter after we missed that appointment I told you about, because we just don't actually make the appointments. So we sent him another letter just to fuck with him, and we're like, "Hey, smart guy, you missed your appointment, so your benefits are in jeopardy of just being canceled altogether, unless you take care of this by." I think the letter said January. I think the letter said January 6th or whatever. But anyway, it was 3 weeks earlier. So basically, we were telling him, you have to travel back in time to get your benefits. It was fucking beautiful. Yeah, we haven't heard from him. He's probably threw it away. Whatever. We don't give a shit. It's because it's all cumulative. No. Immunity. We have sovereign immunity. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. You kidding me? So, let me get this straight. We pay them, and then they sue us, even though they can't get any money for it. What can they hope for? I mean, what's